No sound again? I don't know what's going on with that. I got to check that out. That happened to me earlier. Can you guys in the chat hear me now? Just put a thumbs up if you can hear me now currently. Yeah, okay, they can hear me. I got to check into what's going on. It's probably Mia. So, guys, I'm doing this one with Really B because she's kind of like a subject matter expert. She has talked about this over the last few months, whereas I have not. Technically, this started because I saw Larry Reid on Armon show talking about another Tasha K lawsuit. So I was like, I had no idea what I was getting myself into with all this because now it is a lot. And so I was like, well, if I'm thinking this, and I know you guys, all of these people we're about to discuss are like titans of industry. So if you are just coming in, a good way to kind of inform you is these people have millions of subscribers. Tasha, oh, that's Sharrell. Sharrell is the only person who I actually know personally. She's not involved in this. What Sharrell is doing is interviewing. She's trying to get an interview with everybody involved. Let's see. We have Larry Reid, who is really at the center of all of this. He is being accused of I have to be careful because I am monetized and YouTube is very specific about what they will allow me to say. So he's being accused of violating a young person. We'll just say that. At this point, we're going to let the court of law we're going to let the court of law really, decide who's guilty and innocent. But I'm going to try to remain as impartial as possible so I could just tell you guys what's going on. I'm not going to tell you all what conclusions to draw because you're all adults and, people have taken, sides already. Armon Wiggins interviewed Larry Reid, also a really big content creator. Consciouz TV is Larry Reid's mentee, I believe. And he went on Sharrells World to explain Larry's side. And I think that's all the players. And Bishop Whitehead.
And Tasha K?
I did Tasha K first. I said she had a million.
Okay, my bad.
I'm sorry. Tasha K.
My bad. I missed it.
I have followed Tasha K's lawsuit with Cardi B, which is why I was intending to follow this before I realized all of this that it encompassed. We got about 138 in the room. Definitely. Let's try to get to 100 likes. Let's push this out. Again, I'm not going to tell you.
No, I just said like.
Yeah, definitely like the video. I will be dropping Really's channel throughout. Really is very close to her 10K. So if we can help push her to 10K, around here, we support friends of the channel, and Really is a friend of the channel who I've actually hung out with in real life.
Yeah.
She threatened to put her hair in a bun, pull out some Timbs and some Vaseline and go to work on my face. So she's not to be played with.
If anything, Mims was the one. He was on his way. He texted me talking about something. This is what I want. And it better be there when I get there. And it better be hot and ready. That's how he hit me.
I ordered a burger. Be quiet. Okay. Okay. So I want to start with where I discovered all this. And it was a
No, you're right. Wu Chow in the chat said and Daryl Moore, and you are correct. This actually, well, it didn't start with Daryl Moore, but a lot of this started with Daryl Moore. He's a much smaller YouTuber, but that's where a lot of this coming to YouTube. I ain't gonna say it wasn't around before, but a lot of this coming to YouTube started with Daryl Moore. To be honest with you, and I forgot when we were on the phone, I forgot all about that. But Wu Child is right.
Also, for those of you guys who are new to my channel, I had somebody named Angela who has been with my channel since day one. So you might know her as the Vixen on Wheels. I want to send a special shout out to her. Today we lost Angela. She had been struggling with, she'd had cancer multiple times. She was a stroke victim.
no.
If you remember her, Bolo did a shout out to her. She was very special to me. And I found this out maybe like about 2 hours ago. So it's still really fresh. But if you would put your heart in the chat for Angela, she was very special. She was a very strong lady. And this came as a total shock. Okay. So back to this. I don't know who Daryl Morley is, to be honest. I heard them talking about him now, but I did not know who he was prior to this.
Yeah.
I think the best place to start is with the Armon Wiggins, Larry Reid interview. Because as far as I knew, this was just going to be a lawsuit. And so when he called into Armon's show, I was like, okay, cool. You know, I had no idea the subject matter. So we are going to play some of the audio. Where is it? Okay. I found it.
And Tasha, and then Whitehead, and then pursuing the law.
Wow. Did you do this, Larry? Did you?
Hell no. Not even
Can you hear?
I saw that clip. I mean, it's, you know, but I don't know if you noticed or not. They gathered like 3 or 4 people, 2 of which who came back and apologized on another platform, saying they was high. They had basically been coerced and paid, and they had detailed craziness with me in it, and they came back and retracted it. You know, so I think it's a little bit of manufactured. There's some money involvement. I do know. I'm telling you something I've only said one time. Whitehead and Tasha was in on just allegedly paid someone in July to get close to me and in my life, and that person didn't tell me till like 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
And they sent the money back that he paid them. So I can only imagine what they are doing. But this is what I'm gonna do, Armon. I'm gonna work, do what I do, let my work speak for me, and let the lawyers do what they do.
He will be suing. He said Larry Reid says he will be suing Tasha K, the young man Levante,
I think it is.
I wanted to put his name in the title, but when I went to Tasha K's channel and looked at the interview, she did not have his name listed anywhere. Right. So that's the only reason why I didn't. I wanted to show him respect, because the accusations that he is saying happened to him is it's horrible. And if that did happen to him, it's disgusting. It's atrocious. The whole situation is really, really bad. But when we get to the Tasha K part, I can't let you hear that audio because it is. So I took notes of it all, and we'll go through what he alleged happened to him. Really is like, and we're just getting started. Really?
It's a rabbit hole.
Okay, so let's start here. Larry Reid is saying that Tasha K got with his enemy, Bishop Whitehead, to plot against him. Were you aware of any of that, really?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any insight into that?
So Larry Reid and Tasha K were once cool, right? He said she was a friend. She said he was never a friend, but they were YouTube friendly at the very least. They fell out. Some say it was over a business deal. Some say it was over some other things, but whatever the issue was, they fell out. And what is being alleged is that when Tasha K falls out with somebody, she basically goes for the jugular. This so happened to coincide with the whole Bishop Whitehead situation with Larry Reid. And again, if you guys aren't familiar, Bishop Whitehead and Larry Reid have been going at it since this summer. he's the one whose church was robbed, and he felt like Larry Reid made fun of him, and then it became so they did actually. I mean, they linked up. Now, how deep it goes, I don't know, but they did link up, and so what Larry Reid is saying is, okay, so me and you fell out, me and him have an issue, and now y'all have linked up to sort of come at me. That's
If you
what.
don't know who Bishop Whitehead is, this is him. The priest or the minister who was robbed live on camera for allegedly $1 million worth of jewelry. He has a background in, I believe, fraud.
Yeah, he's a convicted felon. We don't have to say allegedly. He's a convicted felon, but he was arrested back in December for fraud and some other charges. So he's currently under indictment. Yeah,
I'm telling you guys, it's a lot of moving
it's
parts.
a lot of. And see, I've been covering it on my channel, and it's a lot of layers.
I'm really glad to have Really here because she definitely breaks it down. So
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you.
So Larry Reid, as I understand it, or now we're moving into the Wiley show. The Wiley show said he had documents where Larry Reid had sued Daryl Moore for making up allegations about him. In that lawsuit, we find out, or this is what Wiley's alleging, Larry Reid is making $100,000 per month on Patreon. That doesn't include what he's bringing in from his YouTube channel, but it's $100K a month from Patreon alone, and that's 2 years ago. So who knows how much he's making now. So that gives you an idea, guys, that this guy has the money to actually sue somebody. Like his pockets run deep. That's 1.2 million a year just from Patreon alone. That's not endorsements. That's not anything he does with the church. That's just his pocket money. So when he was telling the story about his relationship with Tasha K, he said in the Armon Wiggins show that he felt like Tasha K used him because Tasha K wasn't really doing Patreon like that. And so when Tasha K said how much she was making per month, Larry told her, I make that in a week. So he's alleging that her ears perked up, and that's, I guess, where the friendship formed, or,
And he said he actually helped her set up her Patreon and got her on Patreon. Again, I don't know. That's what he's saying. He's saying that once she found out she wasn't doing Patreon until I showed her how to do Patreon. And that's before she started her, her app that she has now. Before she had that, so yeah. I mean, in the Daryl Moore lawsuit, I do not know where the Daryl Moore situation started. All I know is Daryl Moore had a bee in his bonnet. You know what I'm saying? For Larry Reid, he had this, and his whole YouTube channel was about Larry Reid, Larry Reid, Larry Reid, Larry Reid. And that was the first time, to my knowledge. Now, somebody in the chat might know something different. That's the first time, to my knowledge, that these accusations came to YouTube on that level. The Levantre actually did an interview on Daryl Moore's channel like 2 years ago. But he didn't reveal his name, and he did it by, as an avatar. He didn't do it, but he kept his anonymity. And Larry Reid sued Daryl Moore for, I don't know, I don't want to say it was defamation, but he sued Daryl Moore, and essentially they went to arbitration. And in arbitration, they resolved basically, you keep your name out of my mouth. I mean, you keep my name out of your mouth. I'll keep my name out of, you know what I'm saying? And we'll delete the videos. So Daryl Moore was supposed to delete all of the videos.
Okay, you're being very nice. You're not being messy at all. What is being alleged is Daryl Moore did not have the money to pay for any of the.
Allegedly, he ran out of money. Allegedly, he ran out of money. But essentially, that was the resolution.
He had no money to pay for the attorney. And what he was supposed to do was never again mention Larry Reid's name on YouTube. But if you go, let's do some investigating journalist. if you go to Daryl Reid's page, what he does is he says everything but his name.
Right. Right.
So again, I don't know who's right and who's wrong in this situation. What I do know is money. And if somebody has $1.2 million allegedly that they're making per year on Patreon alone, and you didn't have the money the first go round, it's ill-advised to, let me say this while we're here. Anybody out there, if you have any solid, concrete, factual information that somebody has done something illegal with somebody who is not of age, then you go to the police. A crusade on YouTube is for the court of public opinion. That's what we're doing here. That is not anything that can necessarily really help a potential victim. I want to put that out there, and I mean that. I'm impartial in this case, but that is something that I cannot like rationalize in my head. If somebody did something wrong, you go like to somebody underage, you go to the police ASAP. You are in the, am I allowed to say that what you do?
Yeah.
She's an educator. So there is a moral code that people have to do that. YouTube is not the moral code. All of these interviews are for the court of public opinion. That's it. Now, it does get a little tricky when you have a whole bunch of subscribers. The court of public opinion can put money in your pocket, which is why Larry Reid was able to sue, or is able to sue, because you can put a monetary value. If you defame me, then I can say my subscribers went down by 20,000. I was making this much per month. Now I'm making this much, and it was a lie. That's when you can sue somebody, like what Cardi B did to Tasha K.
Larry Reid said he estimated that he spent about $250,000 on that case. Now that's what he said. That's what he said. I don't know, because I don't know nothing about. I mean, I know lawyers are expensive, but I don't know how much it costs for that case and how many twists and turns. It was a lot. Like that whole case was a whole. But he said that's what he estimated that he spent. And of course, he has, he probably has some pretty high end lawyers too. So
the law doesn't always help. Look at the Utah situation. That's true. I'm just saying, I'm a small content creator. If I really, really, truly believe in something, but I've been sued, you better believe I might have to be quiet about it. If I don't have the money to fight or defend myself.
If you don't have the money, right. If you don't have the money to fight it. And so.
But I want to be very clear. If this man, because I don't know who he is, believes in his heart of hearts that a wrong or injustice has been done to somebody who was not of age, then by all means, do the Lord's work. I just don't know that this is the case because it hasn't been brought to court yet. If that makes any sense. And I think
that's the saddest part about all of this is that there's some people in this that I do think are really convicted in how they feel. But I also think there's a large number of people in here that are just using this young man's, whether it's true or not, I wasn't there, I don't know. But if it is true, using this young man's trauma for a personal vendetta. And I think that's really the saddest part about all of this. Honestly, that's just,
We're going to get into that in the Sharrell interview because Consciouz TV touched on that. Mm-hmm. So anything else you want to dive deep on on Armon Wiggins? I mean, there's no love lost between Armon Wiggins and Tasha K.
Not at all.
They do not get along. Storm Monroe and Armon Wiggins have made amends. They've made peace. They've worked together. But Tasha K and Armon, oil and water. So
yeah.
I want to put out there also that Armon says that if it is found, because he's very friendly with Larry Reid, if it is found out that Larry Reid did do this, then he will disavow him. So I want to point that out. It's very we're towing the line here. But I want to be respectful to all these content creators because this is not played out in the court of law as of yet, and that's what we do over here. We look at things very critically. Extra Smoke says, get the likes up. I don't know where we are on likes, but I'm feeling Extra Smoke's comment. We have over 300 people in here, so definitely let's get the likes up. Let's see.
I'm reading. I'm laughing at what C. Patterson just said. Tasha K and Armon both have the same bad veneer, so they should be BFFs.
I didn't say that. None of y'all.
I didn't say it either. I was just reading it in the chat. I didn't say it either.
We got about 150 likes, so let's do the like goal to 250. We got over 300 people in here. So y'all, and FYI, YouTube will demonetize this. Anytime I do a video on Tasha K, they demonetize it.
Really?
Every time. And even when I do stuff on with black rap artists, they demonetize me. Limited ads right at the end of the video. Yeah.
That is so weird. YouTube is weird. There's just no rhyme or reason. Because my Tasha K stuff never gets demonetized. That's weird.
Where's the court case? So as of right now, Levante, is it? Can somebody put in the chat his actual name? Because like I said, I couldn't find it.
It's either Levante or Levant. I think
I want to make sure I'm being respectful to this young man.
All right, Wu Chow wrote
young man. He's probably like my age, but
yeah,
I want to
he's
make
30
sure
something now. He's in his 30s.
Happy early birthday, Norris.
Happy birthday.
Let's get into what he alleged.
Levante. So it's Levante.
Levante. So he says, and keep in mind, guys, not I'll start the offer.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that heart of inspiration. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says that, and these are his allegations. Again, we don't know. We're just being respectful of this young man. He said that he was told by Larry Reid that he was easy to manipulate at the age of 14 or 15. He said that he joined his church, and there were all kinds of cultist type things. You needed permission to date, how you dressed, and even if they wanted to buy a car, they would have to run it by Larry. These were the people in the congregation. And if he didn't necessarily like something, he would say, spiritually, it talked to me. Tasha K brought up a story because keep in mind, she's interviewing him. Where is it? I think I have a picture of them. Oh, I don't think it loaded. I will show you a picture of the young man, Levante, and of Tasha K interviewing him. But Tasha K said a story, and she said he would get massages and he would travel. Larry Reid would get massages and he traveled with the masseuse. But he told her one day, but you could give me a massage if you want. And so Tasha K felt like that was an example of how he grooms people. They moved on. I mean, because she talked about having a husband and how she was uncomfortable with that. But she still remained his friend after that, so she says little things were happening. So a big thing, which is why I'm not playing the recording, is I'm able to kind of cut down on some of the
right.
So he alleges that Larry told him that I think you might be one of two things. You might either turn out to be gay or a womanizer. So I have a test to see if you are gay or not. And so Levante says that as a young man and believing Larry, and at a certain point of his life living with Larry, he really wanted to know if he was going to be gay, because he said he wasn't gay and he used to like, messing with girls, going all the way with girls, even at that age. He said that Larry gave him a blanket that he told him he prayed in, but Levantre alleges that that blanket was Larry would be naked in the blanket. And he would have him get undressed and have him watch man-to-man videos. He said he would get physically sick, and then he moves on to a graphic depiction of that. He gave his address, and then he goes into a act that he alleged Larry performed on him. I can't go into all that. Tasha K now takes it and asks, did you ever get an apology? He is alleging that there was an apology sent to him via text. Then Tasha starts reading Consciouz TV. Consciouz TV, like I said, is Larry's mentee. Consciouz has a channel. I mean, I like Consciouz's content. Actually, everybody who I've mentioned so far, I don't know Daryl, but I've watched all of these people. Y'all know, if you know me, I support everybody on YouTube. I've watched Consciouz. I've watched Larry. I've watched Tasha. Of course, I know Sharrell. I support Sharrell. Armon Wiggins. Like, it's crazy that okay. Tasha starts reading Consciouz TV, saying that is Larry Reid's boyfriend in a wig. And now this was ugly. I'm not going to even lie. This was ugly. She said something about he looks like he has a low T cell count, because there's just a look to that.
Yeah, she's insinuating. Yeah.
Oh, wait, I got some super chats. What's up, Trent? He says, I'm sorry, but the fairy Tasha K interview didn't come off as being the most credible. Oh. Thank you for your super chat, Trent.
Thank you,
Peaches.
Trent.
Peaches. Thank you. She says, here's my offering. Peaches, I was literally, when I was introducing, I was actually texting you to tell you, because I saw your thing about YouTube Court, that we lost Angela today. I know Peaches knew Angela because Peaches had been with me since the beginning. Sassy Girl, thank you so much. I appreciate. Sassy Girl always supports. Khadijah Jones, here's my offering. Times is hard. I love you, Mims. Love you, really, B. Thank you, Khadijah.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so we're being fair, right? So while we're on this part, I don't know that Larry did this. I don't know that Larry didn't do this. To me, I didn't see when I listened. I just felt like it made my stomach hurt. Just to be honest with you, I was listening to it, and I really, these things happened, and if these things happen to that young man, my heart goes out to him, because that kind of stuff shapes you as a child. Mm-hmm. Did you watch that interview?
So to be honest, no, I did not watch the Tasha K interview, but I have heard his before. He's, like I said, this is the third time he's done this interview, so I've heard it before, but no, I did not watch the Tasha K version.
Thank you so much, Autumn and LA. She sent a Cash App. I really appreciate it. I really, really do. We got about 400 people in here. Did we hit our like count of 250?
We were almost there. I just checked the likes a few minutes ago.
We're at 189. Guys, the new like count is 300. Let's get those likes up to 300. That's just it. Monique
right,
says she prays
300.
nobody lies about this, but I also pray it's not true. That's the tough part, because for Larry, if these things aren't true, these are the kind of things that would destroy your reputation, destroy
Yeah,
your
they don't go
career.
away.
He's a member of the church, and no matter if he's found innocent in the court of law, he doesn't know if he's found innocent in the court of public opinion.
And that's the thing. At this point, and I said this on my channel the other day, I think, at this point, everybody's just made up their mind. And either you believe Larry Reid or you believe the victim. And honestly, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything that, if you believe Larry Reid, I don't know if there's anything the victim can say to change your mind, and vice versa. And that's what happens in these situations. So, like you said, people have, I mean, I'm even reading the chat, like people have made up their minds, and there's no right or wrong answer because none of us were there. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, we can only go by what information is out there and what you choose to believe based on the information that's out there. None of us were with them. None of us were in that room. None of us really know. But you are absolutely correct. That's the kind of thing that doesn't go away. It sticks to you. And unfortunately, what do you do? And
Mhm. It's a tough situation. It's a tough situation. Candy Shop says it's funny though that everyone wants to scrutinize the victims and defend the alleged predator. I hope this plays out in court. To be honest with you, I don't watch the chat. I don't watch the chat, so I don't know who's getting. I mean, my chat I watch, but I'm talking about when I listen to these videos. I listen to this stuff like while I'm working or while I'm doing this. You know what I mean? So I'm not really paying attention. It's playing in the back of my ears.
Oh,
you know?
Shout out Breezy. You got 6 a new subscriber. Love your content and delivery, ma'am. You have the best intro on YouTube. He does. Isn't his intro funny? So funny.
Oh, thank you, Breezy. I appreciate that. I mean, we're a mess around here, but we're logical messes. Here's my support. I'm late tonight, catching up now. LOL. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. I really, really, really appreciate the support because they really are going to turn off my monetization. I heard Tasha K say something one day. She was talking, and this was after the Cardi B stuff, and she said something to the effect of she has to send her stuff to YouTube now. So they have to approve her content before she releases it. So maybe just me putting her thumbnail in there. Here's my offering. So sorry we lost one of our own. Oh, thank you. I appreciate. Angela was. When I tell you, after Bolo did that for her, Angela was so happy. Angela would be so happy if you've been following me when I would drop the link and she could actually come up. Even though it sounded like she had a surgery in her throat and to get out some of the cancer. So her voice was very low, but she had a very dirty mouth. You know what? I might have liked her because she kind of reminded me of Holla, the gangsta granny. She was very dirty and she, she liked big black men like Bolo. So, and I'm not talking big in terms of his muscle.
Yeah, we know.
So now we've gotten there because I will drop the link later so people can come up and talk as long as you guys don't curse or say anything that'll get me even more in trouble for this video. I'm gonna let everybody come up. So that's the allegations. In terms of Tasha, she feels as though she's supporting a victim, similar to when she did like the R. Kelly stuff. So if these things happened, that's at the heart. Some people are saying that they feel like it's just to get back at Larry Reid because their friendship dissolved. That I don't know. You can make up your own decisions with there.
Right.
So on to Sharrell interviewing Consciouz. Background on Consciouz. He has about 40,000 subscribers. You guys can go check him out. He goes really deep on topics. He's up and coming. I found Consciouz when Tasha K and I think Storm had started to something was going on there, and Conscious was trying to bridge the gap. So at one point they were all friends. That didn't.
Yeah.
It
They woke up one
dissolved. But
time. Yeah.
Conscious,
Yeah.
Tasha, Storm, Von Ray, Tasha's assistant, Chelsea, all of these people were in the mix at some point. The Wiley show, it was a whole lot. A whole lot was involved in that. Conscious was the one person that they were all reaching out to fix everything. So that's how I was introduced to Conscious. He's a very deep person.
Right.
Conscious on
Right.
Sharrell
Who's
says
the
that
Christmas chaos?
huh?
Go ahead. On. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
These allegations were out before TK. Yes, that was touched on. Really says that a content creator by the name of Daryl Moore was putting them out a few years ago. Then other content creators picked up on it. Tasha K picked up on it. I guess a few months ago after the relationship dissolved, and after we go into Sharrell's interview with Consciouz TV, really has provided me a audio recording where Tasha K recorded Larry Reid. We'll play that.
Yeah, she called him. Mm-hmm.
And I think Larry had a recording of Tasha K as well. It just seems a little duplicitous to me. If I'm talking on the phone to Really, my expectation is that Really is not recording me.
Right.
By the time I give you my phone number, I trust you.
Right. And what was interesting is that they were recording each other. Like he didn't trust her and she was recording him. You can hear, I mean, I'll let everybody draw their own conclusion, but she called him for a reason. I'll put it like that. It seemed like, let me say that. And he recorded her because I guess he didn't trust her. So they both have their own, you know what I'm saying? They both had their own recording, but yeah. This happened a couple of weeks ago.
LY says this is for the sense of
interview Devontre.
LY says this is for your sense of humor and intro. Thank you so much. I appreciate you supporting the channel, LY. Legally Leah says I watched the interview and the young man's story has a very credible ring of truth to it. She's my legal eagle. She knows her law. So Legally Leah. Let's get into this. So Consciouz TV says that the issue started off when he was still cool with all of the parties involved. And he made a joke about Olga, which is Tasha K's attorney, losing Tasha K $4.8 million. And then Tasha K came back with, because she wasn't happy about the joke. Well, Larry Reid tried to do some fundraising for $40,000 because that same attorney had failed to file something on time. And it was like a very 25, 50. It was a lot of money that was owed because it wasn't filed on time. So Tasha K tried to allege that Larry King had done fundraising for something he didn't even have to pay for. Consciouz TV alleges that is a lie. Larry had to pay 25 of it, and the attorney Olga had to pay 25 of it, and Olga just did not trust Tasha K, so she fed her that story to see if Tasha K would ever come out with it, and Tasha K did. Y'all, the allegations that are flying in these last few days. That's why I was like,
and that actually played out. That actually played out on Consciouz's channel. Those videos are there. That actually happened on his channel. Where she's, the two of them were talking. Oh no, it was on Chelsea's channel. So the video may not still be there because it was on Chelsea's channel. But yeah, that did happen.
I am Leo Aries said Tasha K started recording back in the day with Lovely T. Tasha will fall out with other YouTubers. Thank you so much. I am Leo Aries. Yes, there has been a number of YouTubers, Storm, Lovely T, Larry Reid, Armon Wiggins. The Wiley Show is I don't know what goes on there, but he is definitely in support of Tasha the way that Conscious is in support of Larry Reid.
Right.
I think that Tasha and Jason Lee also don't get along. Probably one of the most
No,
famous
they
beefs with
don't.
Tasha
Yeah, they
K
don't get
was
along.
Cardi B, and we see
Yeah.
how that one,
Yeah,
ended
they
and
don't get
played
along at
out.
all.
So he actually, I'm glad you mentioned that I am Lears because that's in my notes. She also included a content creator named Sean Davy Way. I'm not familiar with him. Um, and that's it. So those are the things. Okay. So he Conscious on Sharrells also alleged it's important to say that Sharrell is not a player in this. She just wants to interview all parties involved. So she has
Right.
been very clear on that. What she wants to do is interview everybody. She says she's reached out to Bishop Whitehead and Tasha, and she hasn't heard back as of yet. Conscious TV is alleging that Bishop Whitehead has teamed up with Tasha to take down Larry Reid. Is that something that you have heard? Do you have any feelings about that? Because
Yeah,
really is a number one source of information on Bishop Whitehead. She stays on his neck, y'all.
I do stay on his neck because I find him to be utterly ridiculous, and he entertains me in a not in a good way. But um, so here's the thing, Larry, Tasha K interviewed Whitehead a few months back, and when she interviewed Whitehead, she was sort of, you could tell she didn't believe him. She was sort of clowning him. And then almost immediately when Tasha fell out with Larry Reid, it was almost like immediately they linked up. And I mean, again, it just all played out because Whitehead was live and Tasha K clicked into his live, and they got to, this is when she was in Africa. If you guys remember when she went to Africa a couple of months ago, she was in Africa and she clicked into his live, and that's when he first started playing, talking about these allegations on Larry Reid. That's when he first started talking about these allegations on his Instagram. And Tasha K clicked in and basically was telling him, "Oh, it's more to the story. I could, I got stuff I need to tell you. We need to talk." And oh yeah, and that's where that. So it, you saw on live where they linked up. Now, how much they're doing behind scenes, I don't know, but they definitely linked up on that live. And you can see now, like, he knew that the interview was getting ready to drop. He knew that she had interviewed him. Like, he knows a lot, that you could tell that, in my opinion, that there have been some conversations. Let me say that. In my opinion, there have been conversations.
Okay. Um. Now this is where, guys, it went off the rails. This was so salacious. This was we're to the New Yorker magazine. Now, Conscious TV is very certain that the Bishop Whitehead and Tasha have linked up, but he wanted the public to know how he felt about Whitehead. There is a New Yorker, the NewYorker.com. Is that what it is? NewYorker.com magazine article that alleges that Bishop Whitehead was having a was having one of these with the mayor of New York City, the male mayor of New York City. It goes on to say that not only is Bishop Whitehead a convicted felon for fraud, so is the mayor. It's I looked up the article. It exists. It's the NewYorker.com, I believe. Let
Oh
me
yeah,
look
we
it up.
covered it on my channel. We read the whole article. Well, almost the whole article.
Y'all, can somebody drop Really's link? Really is really close to her 10K. And in this channel, we support the people who support us, and really definitely does support us. So the channel will
Oh,
get
thank
dropped.
you.
Definitely subscribe to her so that we can go have a 10K party over there with her. She deserves it.
Yes,
She puts in
10K
the work.
party.
She definitely puts in
Yes,
the work.
before what I tell you, 460 away, I think.
We can get there if we can even get the likes up on this video.
The New Yorker is a very somebody was asking, is that a credible news source? The New Yorker is a very credible news source. The New York, yeah.
So yeah, I definitely checked it out. You can find that online. It is a very salacious article. I think one of the girlfriends or a partner was saying that they would leave in the middle of the night to go do that with
Yeah,
the
he said they
mayor.
would. She said they would leave. He would leave in the middle of the night to go meet up with Bishop Whitehead.
Somebody said they
It's very
subscribed 30
detailed, and
minutes
yeah.
ago.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's a very long article, but what I walked away from that article is that they're after the mayor. Like the mayor's in trouble. Like they're after him.
I mean, I feel I believe in prison reform. With that being said, would I ever try to make Apollo the mayor of my town? No. Would I ever try to make Phaedra the mayor of my town? No. Would I ever want
Yeah, the article
what's
talked
that?
about that they feel like he got under the radar because the election and everything happened during lockdown, and that the normal vetting process might not have happened the way that it would have happened had this been a regular election cycle. But because people were kind of locked in, and and then it was the whole he's a former cop, so it was that whole, oh, we want people to love the cops again, and he's a black cop, so let's
Phaedra's a black
vote for
attorney,
him.
but I wouldn't want her in my office.
Listen, I agree. I'm just giving y'all the facts here. I'm just giving y'all the facts.
I don't want Jen
No, the
Shaw
mayor,
to run for or Tom
right. No, the
Girardi to
mayor is
run.
not a convicted felon. Let me clear this up. The mayor is not a convicted felon. However, there was a lot of he was under suspicion of doing certain things, but he was never convicted of anything. But there was a lot of smoke. Let me just say that. Now, some people say where there's smoke, there's fire. There was a lot of smoke around the mayor. Nothing really stuck. But there was definitely a lot of smoke and a lot of accusations.
Did Bishop Whitehead stick? Okay. We went so long without being messy. We did really good.
I know, right? We were being really good. All right, let's get back.
Okay, so then, I mean, because it really started going in. He really started going in on Bishop. He said that Bishop Whitehead defended Tekashi 6ix9ine after Tekashi had filmed let's just say a 6th grader, right? The mayor stuck up for Tekashi, and so he was saying, this is the kind of person that you're defending. You are saying, and I got what he was going. He didn't say this, but I got where he was going with that. So you defend Tekashi, who, did something inappropriate with a 6th grader or something like that. But now you're alleging that Larry Reid has done these things, and you are trying to nail him to the cross, for lack of a better term. Right. So it
care about the victims,
it doesn't connect.
Right.
Candy Shop, she also has a channel, says, offering, glad you're covering this memes. Tasha K is just as guilty if these allegations are true.
Mm-hmm.
We're goofy around here too. Sorry. Thank you so much. Sassy Girl says, it's CTV's channel as well. That's where I saw it when it all went down. I was watching.
So it was on both channels. Yeah.
His lives are long are long, but there's
and he's a night owl. A lot of his lives are like he's a night owl too.
it's something in the way that he speaks. I don't think he's like a preacher, but he has that kind of like verbiage of somebody who's, of
Yeah,
the
and he's
cloth. I
very
don't know.
spiritual. Like he's very into, your astrological signs and retrograde, and he's very spiritual. He speaks on these things too.
Okay, well, thank you, Sassy Girl. I appreciate that. So then he gets on to somebody named King Jives. Do you know who that is?
Yes.
Who's King Jives?
So King Jives he's a YouTuber, and he does the same thing Larry Reid does. He does like a lot of the church gossip and a lot of what's going on, especially like the Kojic church. And he was him and Larry when Bishop Whitehead was going to sue Larry Reid, he was also going to sue King Jives. Now, oh gosh, allegedly, King Jives allegedly knew about these accusations as well. About Reid, his god brother or something told him these stories again long years ago about Larry Reid, allegedly. So King Jives is involved through the Bishop Whitehead part of this, and then that part as well. That allegedly King Jives had heard these stories before through a family member.
Lisa says it was the bishop
Are
who
you going to talk
defended
about
six
the? Are
nine.
you going to talk about the Wiley? You talking about the Wiley conversation between him and King Jives, or you talking about something else?
No, I just wrote down, like, this was a lot of notes, y'all. I'm trying to be here for everything, but this was a whole lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot of layers, and it involves a lot of, because again, this has been going on for 2 years. This didn't just happen when Tasha K decided to interview this young man. This has been going on for at least 2 years. So there's a lot of layers to it because this didn't just, you know what I'm saying?
So
And let's be
then,
clear, and I'm not taking a side when I say this, but Tasha K knew this story for 2 years as well. She didn't
okay,
just
so
learn about this story.
that's what we're about to get into. So Conscious really, from what I saw, was there to defend his mentor. And so some of the things he said
Right.
was,
Right.
why would Tasha K befriend somebody if she thought these things were true? Why? I mean, why now? Why would you decide to record him and interview this boy and all these things only after y'all stopped being friends? Conscious also alleges that there were holes in Levantre's story, starting with the time frame that Levante has given. Conscious feels is 2 years off from the actual time frame because the address that Levante was talking about was not actually built at the time that Levante was alleging he was staying with Larry when these things occurred. That gets very sticky because you're saying 14, 15, but the time that you were actually living with him was like 17. Did you hear the Sharrell interview?
Yeah. Well, I was listening to Consciouz TV when, yeah. So
Okay.
let me say this, and I'm not taking sides, but Larry Reid has said, even from the audio that the audio that Mims just played a few minutes ago, Larry Reid said he did not do this. Again, like I said, there's going to be people that's just not going to believe it, doesn't matter. But Kwame, you said he needs to answer. He said he didn't do it. I don't know what else y'all want him to say, because if you've made up your
He
mind
has
that he didn't do it,
unequivocally denied.
it's really nothing you can say. And he has done it more than once. I've heard him flat out deny it multiple times on multiple platforms. I've heard him say it on his platform, on Consciouz TV, on Armon Wiggins. He has said it is not true. So
this is the video that he did saying it's not true. So it's important that we mention that because
he said it multiple times. Yeah. But I'm sorry. I saw that in the chat. I just want to say that. Go ahead.
No, I mean that's you're the subject matter expert. So those were he felt were holes in the story. Um, Conscious feels that Levantre is doing this because Larry decided to cut him off at a certain point. After Levante was an adult, I think a few years back, he says that Larry unfollowed Levante on social media, and then Levante responded to Larry and said, "How could you do this to me? You didn't even reach out to me to tell me you were going to do it." And then, so what's fuzzy is, did he work for him? Was he getting money? Did he cut him off on social media and then also cut him off financially? Some of those things have been left very ambiguous. And I think that's the kind of
He
stuff
was
that
working
will
for
play
him.
out in the court of law, because Larry is saying that he is going to sue Tasha, Levantre, and Bishop Whitehead.
Yeah, he
That does present a
Levantre was
question.
working at the time.
Conscious made a good point, but the people who feel like Larry Reid did this are saying a lot of people who are abused hold on to their abuser even into adulthood. So both sides are not budging. Had you heard any of this?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So I think
yeah.
it's important to say that Really and I are not here to tell anybody how to feel. I can already see that, people have kind of like chosen to, believe whom they want to. And all that is fair. We're just bringing it to you. So before I open the phone lines, I want to play the recording that was sent that Tasha recorded Larry, to give you guys a full taste. So I'll drop the link now. We'll play the recording, give a little commentary, and then you guys can come up and state, how you feel about it. Just remember, don't curse. Don't use like buzzwords like the R word, the M word, because that will get me further demonetized. And I want to be able to give you guys these stories, but I also don't want to get in trouble with YouTube. So just FYI, don't use those words, or I will just have to take you down like with the quickness.
Yeah. He said both things, Kwame. He said both things. I think he keeps going back.
Well, I think you've been on platforms before. Didn't you speak on like Conscious platform and you had kind of made comment about it? I never have. There's no footage of that because I never done it. Really? Never, ever. Not even as it relates to that. I never have. Because it's a complete lie. What if I told you the reason I'm considering taking the story is because there are some receipts that seem pretty solid? Hold on. Possible. You sure? I'm 100%. I'm calling you because, listen, I don't have anything against you. You understand what I'm saying? Me and you have had our differences. People accusing me of what? Of molestation.
No, buzzword.
Right,
Buzzword.
buzzword.
That's made up. Whatever receipt they gave you, they made it up. Hold on. So I guess what I'm calling to ask. So if I decide to take the story, you are not going to sit down and address it. I'm not going to what? You're not going to agree to sit down with me and address it. Because it's not even true. Why am I going to sit down and talk about something that's not true and publicize? I'm just going to let my lawyers handle it. But okay, so here's the thing. You know me, right? Molestation is, me and you have talked a lot about our past traumas and the things that we've gone through, right? And so if I'm calling you as somebody that know you and have known you
And yeah, we've had our differences publicly, but it had nothing to do with this, right? And if I say to you, I have receipts that are vetted, you don't want the opportunity to speak on that if I decide to go forward with the story, is what you say. You just gonna let it go.
Yeah, because I know myself and I know my past, I know what I've done, my present. There is no receipt of me doing anything to anybody, especially underage.
Okay.
At all.
Okay. So what I want to say is Conscious brought these out, these recordings, and Conscious feels like the Levante is saying that there is a pending investigation, but there is not. And Conscious also feels like if Tasha K was a content creator who was really concerned about the person who, the victim, why is she selling this story? So in order to get the full 3-part episode, you have to go to Tasha K's app, I believe, right? Really?
Mm-hmm.
You have to go to the app.
The full interview is on the app. Yeah.
I can't hear you for some reason.
You can't hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me now?
I can. You have to go to the app in order to get it. So he feels like she is using this boy's this man's pain, and you know, if these things are true, she's using it to make money. Now, in all fairness, because I'm a straight shooter, pow. I've been looking at all sides of this. You also have to go to, there's more stuff presented from Larry, but you have to go to his Patreon to do it, to see it. So some people are saying both parties are making money off this.
They are, but Larry Reid wasn't. Let me just say, they are.
So I mean, we're trying to be fair here because before we did this, me and really talked about it, and we want to hear what everybody has to say, but we haven't like made our mind up about any of this because it's very confusing. It's, somebody said it's more branches than a tree. That's what I was laughing at. And we want to hear what you guys have to say. Was there anything else before I let people come up that you wanted to get across?
No, I know that I will say this. Tasha K said that it's a 3-part series. She dropped the first part Sunday. She'll drop the second part this Sunday, and then the third part is the Sunday after that. She said all the receipts are in the third part. So that's the part I want to see. Because she says, I mean, people could say she's you know, whatever, but I want to see what she got. I want to see these indisputable receipts. She said she's not worried about a lawsuit because her receipts are indisputable. So I want to see what they are. But other than that,
so I heard the receipts are apologies that Larry Reid allegedly sent to the alleged victim.
But my thing is, he could be apologizing for anything. It depends on who you're trying to convince. I don't know. I don't know what the receipts are. I heard that too, but until she shows them, right? People say she said the same thing about Cardi B. So I'm just saying, I'm not giving a public opinion, and I don't want to come off that I'm biased because I want to hear the receipts. I've heard Larry Reid's receipts about the house, and the house wasn't built, and the age. Not, I've heard that. Now, if this young man has, I want to hear what those receipts are. And like I said before, it really, if you've already made up your mind, it doesn't really matter. You've made up your mind, so it doesn't matter what one side says over the other. If you've made up your mind, you know. And you're right. We might get to part 3 and her receipts might be a dud. I don't know. I'm just gonna wait and see what they are. But that's, Deborah Daniels, exactly. He's apologizing, but he could be apologizing for anything. unless he specifically says I'm apologizing for dot 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 dot. Me just sending you a text, sorry. Only me and you know what I'm sorry about.
Okay, so we're pretty much. I'm open to seeing it all. Either way it goes,
Yeah.
somebody is lying, and that's what really sucks. That really does suck. Okay, we got like 650 in the chat. We only have like 300 likes. So y'all get the likes up.
What?
Let's shoot for like
Get them likes
450.
up, y'all.
Let's get the likes up, y'all.
Get those likes up so Mims can get to 1,000, child. Uh-oh. Oh, you
Okay.
had a full house. Okay.
I think Sunkissed was first. Hey Sunkissed.
Hey, Mims. Hello. How are you? How are you both doing? I should say.
Hey, girl.
Good. Listen.
We're good and confused.
Huh?
We're good and confused. That's what
I
we
know.
are.
I've been following just reputable people on this story here because, of course, I can't say that I watched Tasha K because I don't. I didn't watch the interview because, for one, it's for several reasons why I just don't watch her, and that topic I just don't want to touch. But at any rate, again, just reputable people. Sharrell, I watched the whole show on that with Consciouz TV, very thorough. I was like, if I ever have to
Don't
go
lie,
to
your
court,
mouth was dropped. Like
yeah,
some of
yeah, I have to say, my mouth was hanging on. And if I ever have to go to court, I am gonna sit in front of his house like Blackhead did. What's his name? And Larry Reid, and I'm gonna stalk him until I see him and say, "You going to court and you gonna represent me. Get your best lace front. You gonna represent me." I mean, he was just going at it. But all that being said, it's just a lot going on with him, with Tasha. Well, you guys just mentioned that she said the third part, she, is maybe some apologies or whatever. Whoever made that comment, I was thinking the same thing. It could be a lot of apologies. That it could be, how some people say, if I hurt your feelings, whatever I may have said that may have done X, Y, Z. That apology can go that way. If or maybe, or if you felt this way, it could be said that way. That doesn't necessarily mean he could be admitting to anything. But again, I'm trying to stay right in the middle because again, we don't know. All that being said,
right.
If this is, I'll say this much too. If Larry Reid did do anything, I'm saying if, I hope they drag him like they did R. Kelly. However, as I said on other content creators channel, we're imperfect. We can't read minds or hearts. We can only go by what's sitting in front of us. What is sitting before us, as I said before, is the fact that Tasha K openly, as well as her husband, openly admitted that she lied. That's what we have. And Larry Reid, some things being brought up against him in the past, and it has been debunked. That is all we have that's sitting before us. And that's all we can go by. So that being said, we have to go by that until this third part, until all this comes to full fruition. And so a lot of people are taking sides, again, with people having followers, and rather than following what's sitting before them or following the truth, people want to follow humans, which are heavily flawed. So people just sit back and just wait, or sit back and just go by what's sitting in front of us. We just got to, just say, okay, well, the heck with it. Let's just chop it up and just go with it. So if we want to go with it, let's just go with it. Go with what's up, what we see, what's before us. Tasha has so many people that she has slighted over a short period of time, and that's the reason why people are Larry Reid may have been what do we call that, recording the telephone call, and someone mentioned that even in the chat, because I put it in the chat and someone sent in a whatchamajig. Yeah, she did that, starting off with Lovely T, and then she has a plethora of people that she's bumped heads with. So if you want to go by that and just start slinging mud, Tasha has been doing this with so many people. She has more enemies than she has friends. So you want to go by that? Let's go by that then. So and then Consciouz TV has that one thing that he mentioned, the property that the young guy said that happened that he was violated at. He wasn't. Larry wasn't even living there. So just by that alone, if you want to just take sides, let's take sides. Okay, let's take that. Right there, that's a lie. That's debunked. So that's why I'm like, come on now, people. Really? But you still have people that just want to follow people. So let's just follow people and go by that. And so that's why it cracks me up that so many people look at something and just don't want to see that it's a choice. People choose not to want to see the truth because they want to follow people. And that's what I'm just like, okay, I'm done with it. I cannot, it blows my mind as to how blind people choose to be. So if anybody, I don't bet, but if I did bet, my money would be on Larry Reid. However, I don't even want to I don't want to say that, because if he is wrong, drag him for the filth and he need to be sitting in the same cell as R. Kelly. But if Tasha is wrong, then do her the same way. Then, hey, snatch more million from her. That's how I look at it. I'm team truth.
How are we going to snatch the millions when they in a bank in Africa?
Right.
The millions.
But that's how I say narcissist. I said this on another channel. I said narcissist, if you look it up, there are 4 different levels of narcissism. It's just like having a slight little headache to a full-grown migraine. And that's how narcissism is. And you have some narcissists will rather tear down their own career and bankrupt themselves into actually do right and actually allow somebody else to take it from them. And I've said this before, and you guys can Google it yourself. And she would rather tear down her own career than to actually do right and fly right. And
so hold on, Lenore. I'm gonna keep you up, because this is an open panel tonight. But I'm gonna move on to Lenore after we have everybody on the panel. It's an open free for all. So I'm gonna keep you up though. So don't drop down.
All right.
Ms. Lenore Batts.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes. Hi, my handle is I am Leo Aries. So what's up? What's up?
Oh, okay. I've seen you before. Yeah.
Yes, Mims, gang. What's up? What's up?
We roll deep.
Okay. But I really go to the point of, where is the police report? There has to be a starting point before a court case.
There is a police report. Thank you for bringing that up. There is a police report, and it was filed, I believe, a few years ago. I don't have all the specifics on it, but both sides have said things to debunk the other. So I'm unclear unless I can actually pull the police report somehow. But they said it was closed. It was a closed report. Jump in, really. Jump in.
So I
hold on one second, Miss Lenore.
So Levante filed a police report.
She had to do a hair flip, y'all. This.
Levante did file a police report. I want to say it was like in 2017. But on the police report, he does not specifically say Larry Reid's name, but he does speak of what happened. The police report, he filed it in Raleigh, North Carolina, but there was never an investigation. The case is not officially closed. However, there is no one actively working on the case. That is the attorney that comes on my channel, Simone, Girl Is That Legal? She actually did pull the case. She pulled the police report, and there's nothing active. But he did file one, but he does not specifically say Larry Reid's name. Larry Reid was never questioned. He was never investigated, because he didn't say on the police report there's no name.
And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Miss Lenore. I'm so sorry. Also, in addition to that, somebody said something. In addition to the police report not being, there's also allegations that there is another member of the church who might have actually been the person who violated Levante. Just putting that out there. We're giving you guys what everybody's saying, all sides. Please, Miss Lenore, it's your turn. I will be quiet.
I love the data. So, okay, I live in North Carolina and very close to Raleigh. And I don't deny the fact that there was a police report filed with this young man. And I wonder, did this incident happen in North Carolina? Do you know, Miss Reality B?
Yes, he alleges that it happened when Larry Reid was living in North Carolina. So it allegedly happened in Raleigh or the Raleigh area in that jurisdiction. Yes.
Because Larry Reid got many, many, many properties.
Okay, so now we're talking the real talk. So it may have been swept up under the rug. I don't have a dog in the fight. One thing also about Tasha K, she can bring the information. Now, what side of the allegation she stands on can be faulty, but she can bring information to the viewpoint of people that you may not know. So I'm not here to say that Larry did do this or didn't do this. I'm not here to say that Tasha K may be embellishing a little bit about what's going on for her own profitability. Maybe Larry Reid is doing the same thing. But I just wanted to hear the information about the police report. So I'm with everybody else. I'm not sure.
That's usually the smartest thing, to wait until you have all of the facts presented before actually making an informed decision. It gets kind of hard though, because you like who you like. That's human nature. And if somebody presents something to you that defames somebody that you like, it does one of two things. It either pushes you in their corner more, or it turns you off from that person altogether. And that's why this court of public opinion is so important, specifically for people on YouTube and in the media, because it could destroy you. Like we all saw Phaedra and Candy. But okay, Miss Lenora, stay up. You'll be able to come up. We're just gonna go through the panel that's here. Heart of Inspiration, old buddy, it's been a minute. How have you been?
Working hard. How you doing, ma'am? It's good to see you.
I'm good. Heart of Inspiration also has a channel, guys.
Thank you. And I just subbed to you. Is it reality or really? Is it reality B TV? Is that
Really B?
Really B. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Listen, I ain't got the contacts, and I got old eyes. Okay.
It's okay. People say reality B all the time. It's okay. Thank you, though.
She said, call me whatever you want. Just subscribe.
Well, I did that.
Right.
So there you
Come
go.
on over.
All right. So I'm going to try to make this short. I myself did a live a couple nights ago. And because I did watch the entire 2.5 hour Tasha K interview on her platform. I listened to the 4.5 hour Patreon on Larry's platform. I've heard a myriad of other people, a lot of the Consciouz TV, I have been some of everywhere, trying to put all of this together, because what some of you may or may not know, I have been an ordained Christian minister, non-denominational, charismatic, speaking in tongues, laying on hands, prophesying since I was 30 years old. I am now 54. I'm not active in the church, but this kind of, right now, I'm doing spirituality. But this is close to my heart because I've seen it happen too many times. Too many times. Now.
Well, the only thing that you didn't mention, did you watch Sharrell's interview with Consciouz TV?
I saw bits and pieces. I was in the midst of, I've got 3 businesses I'm running. So I was in the midst of doing work this morning.
Heart of Inspiration is where the money resides.
Yeah, if y'all need some websites or some virtual events, come on down through here. We're doing that too now. I'm really trying to put this, long story short, because I put all this together chronologically. There are a lot of holes and a lot of discrepancies and a lot of issues. I'm going to take Tasha out of this because her motivation for bringing this up now, when she knew about it later, I don't know that it has a lot to do with why it's here, but I don't know that it has to do with what happened, right? So this is the thing. What we do know is that this young man was left at the church by his mother somewhere around 14 or 15 years old. Him and his brother, to my knowledge. This is what he's saying on Tasha's interview. His mother at that point wasn't doing well. She and the father had split up. There was a lot of going on. She wanted the boys to have men in their lives. At this point, Larry's ministry was taking a lot of different people in from that, basically taking in the broken, right? Taking them in and helping. So she goes to and kind of pursue her ministry. The boys are here. From what I can piece together that people agree on, and timelines and addresses, I also pulled the Daryl Moore lawsuit. I also pulled the dismissed lawsuit. So I've read a lot. I've spent hours involved in this. What I could piece together is this. It seems like there was Shamarko and there was other younger, other people in the church that were kind of handling all the youth and this and that, and they were in different houses and whatnot. Larry at that time was married and was starting to have the family and whatnot. And what some of y'all might not understand is in Black churches, period, I don't care how big or how small it is, we tend to keep the pastor and certain close members of the ministry off to the side. So you may not know, as the head pastor, you may not actually come into close constant contact with someone for a very long time. They could be in the music ministry or not. You may not. They're kept separate. What seems to make a lot of sense is that by the time this house was built, this young man was about 16 or so, about 16 to 17, about in there. Because this would have been about 2007, 2008, and he was born in 1990 in October. So by the time Larry moved into this house, this young man was around 16 and a half or older, potentially 17 at this point. In the state of North Carolina, y'all could tell me if I'm right, wrong, or indifferent, but I do believe that the state of North Carolina, the age of consent is either 16 or 17. Like it or not. I bring that up for this purpose. Someone said in the chat that people in ministry will tend to mess with people, but unless they're really sick, they try to wait until there's a legal age. Do I think? Okay, now listen.
I see where you're going. I see. If we're just being frank, and we've been that all night, if the age of consent is 17, and that's when the house was built, and that's when the alleged act occurred, and this is not us. This is just what all sides are saying. If the age of consent is 17, and that did happen, Consciouz TV is alleging that the boy changed his age to 14, 15 to now make it illegal.
I have listened to a number of these. I didn't necessarily have time to do this, y'all, but while I'm typing, I'm listening. Okay. So this story has been fluid, time frames having changed. I will say this though. Had that young man on Tasha's live not said repeatedly that when emotionally impactful situations happen, be they positive or negative, it leaves an imprint in his mind. I remember colors, I remember smells, I remember everything. I can tell you what you were wearing, what if it was the sun was shining, the whole 9 yards. Photographic complete memory. Had he not said that 3 times, I would be like, hey, it could get fuzzy. This was younger. This was traumatic. This was highly impactful. I don't expect people's memory to serve them to the best because our memory is designed to protect us. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that we don't get into these certain issues anymore. And we don't want to remember certain things that are going to be harmful. He's the one that said that. I would have let a lot go had that not been the statement. That being said, so now I'm going to take you at your word. Then when you can't remember dates, addresses, and everything like that, now I got to say, okay, well, where it is, what it is. Larry's story has to some degree changed. But the one thing I can say that I have heard him say numerous times is he did not do anything with this young man under the age. On the Patreon, he did say he didn't do anything with the young man, period. I am just of the and the fact that the age of consent is 17 doesn't make it morally, ethically, as a minister myself. No, absolutely not. I think it's
Miss Heart of Inspiration, the age of consent in North Carolina is 16. Continue, my queen.
Well, now we have it. Now, the law isn't always moral. That's just, I mean, we got to call a spade a spade.
Yeah, and it's true.
The morality of it all, me being a minister and having been one for as long as I have, and having seen so much and known so much about what these ministers do, some of your faves. If I could tell you some stories when I would run with them back in the day. But my point is this.
Hold on
I
one
am
second.
not fully convinced nothing happened between the two.
Hold on 1 second. If you are not talking, please mute because there is a echo. I can hear Hart echoing a little bit. Please continue, Hart.
No problem. So
you said you've seen it.
I've seen it. Some of the people, some of your very much faves right now, because I was blessed enough to go around the country and minister with a lot of them. You would be, your stomach would turn. And that's a lot of the reason why I'm not in the church right now. So that being said,
my stomach turned when I heard him. When I was listening to the interview on Tasha K.
Yeah.
I think that children, the elderly, the homeless, disenfranchised people have to be protected at all costs. At all costs. Because there's one thing that you can't get back, and it's your innocence. Now, again, I'm not saying I know what happened between them. That's not what we're here for. I'm just saying, in general, children should be protected. Please continue.
Yes, but he wasn't being protected even before he came there. There have been allegations that he's not even denied about prior violations before they even ever came there. So, and I'm not going to parent blame. I'll leave that for my channel because I did enough of that on my own. And being a mother, a single mother that raised 3 while I was in ministry, I'm side-eyeing a little bit of this, but that's beside the point. I'm not fully convinced nothing happened. I feel like this is another Meg Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez, Kelsey situation. Ain't nobody telling the full truth. And I don't know if we'll ever get the full truth.
Speak on it.
That's just how I feel. Now, as far as I want to say one thing, then I'll give up the mic. As far as there was the lawsuit that was in North Carolina against Levantre that Larry did sue him there. And again, I pulled all of those documents. So Levantre was served at his mother's residence, which, by the way, is where this whole 3-part interview is taken part at. So he was served there. His mother accepted service, said Levantre lived there. During this lawsuit, Levantre did file a 26-page rebuttal. However, then part of that rebuttal or answer to the lawsuit was that there was no jurisdiction in North Carolina because he was a resident of Georgia. Now, I'm not taking this from what other people have said, content creators. You know, I watch Consciouz TV. I watch all of it. I pulled this from my own 2 eyes. Okay. So that's exactly what happened. And so then that's when Larry's lawyer did voluntarily ask for the case to be dismissed without prejudice, meaning he can refile it. But now if he decides to refile, it will be in Georgia. We're not sure whether or not Larry is going to refile. And so I personally feel like you should, because if you're innocent and there is no criminal case right now, this is the only way, to me, that you're going to get your name back. But that's not up to me. It's not my money. It's not my reputation. It ain't my nothing. That's up to that man. So there's a lot more information I have, but I don't want to. I want to go on, and if other questions come up, I'm willing to answer. I've done a lot of research on it. So
Okay, yeah, please stay up. I'm just Q, jump in.
All right. Good
Oh,
evening.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm super rude. Cedar Grove Productions. Loved you feedback when you would come up on Sharrells World channel. Unfortunately, there's a history of people that may do things may do these things and will deny, rich or poor. Court is the right way, like you said. Thank you, Cedar Grove Productions. I appreciate that. And we none of us were in the room, so we can have our opinions. But if this really does need to play out in the court of law. Thank you so much. Please, Q, jump in.
So it's first of all, hello, good evening.
Hey.
So it's funny because I was doing a video tonight. And then when I saw this story, I kind of like made it more like the first part of the video more about that than what I was originally going to talk about. But what I want to say is it's a couple things about this that kind of we don't know what happened, right? It's his side, and then it's the truth. I just feel as though as a person, a grown person, my grown age, I've never had an attraction. This is me for somebody of a teenage, somebody under 21. Also, the church is I'm not going to get like too deep into this, but the church is a very, funny place because they preach one way. Most people, most of them, not all of them, but they preach one way behind that pulpit to the saints and this and that. And then they're turning around behind closed doors and being some of the most nastiest people in the world. So you got, on top of that, I didn't even know Larry Reid was a pastor. So that shows how much I was paying attention. At first, when I first saw the story, I was like, oh, here Tasha K. At first, I was like, here Tasha K go being messy, like she normally does. That's what her channel is about. And then it was like, oh, wait a minute, this is something a little bit more different. What's this about? It's also kind of interesting to me that she sat on this.
Were you talking about Kim Burrell?
I mean, well, you know how I feel about Kim Burrell. And that's not, her name is not Kim Burrell.
Okay, well, okay, please continue.
Okay, sorry. I'll go there.
So. No, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm sorry.
What was I saying? Oh, it was funny to me that she sat on this story because it's like, y'all used to do videos together. What happened for y'all to fall out for it to go this deep? Because when you fall out with a person, sometimes you fall out. It is what it is. You may talk a little mess about that person, a little mess, but then it's like she went out and did this research and found this accuser and went out and did this, and he went out and did this and this and that. And it's just like, what happened for it to go this deep? And Larry, I don't care if the boy was 17, 16, 15, 14, it's all disgusting. For how detailed he was, right? I was just like, wow. Like, I was just like, wow, this is crazy. And the easiest thing to do when it comes to the church or when it comes to pastors is to say they were messing with a child. They did it to Eddie Long with his situation. I'm sure they do it to other people. That's the easiest thing to do. That's what they always go for. They always go for the pastors are gay or they live in a certain lifestyle and this and that, which 9 times out of 10 is probably true. But it's just, I don't know. It was just something about this story that was creepy. And it was just like, if y'all are doing this for money, I think that's disgusting. If none of this is true and it's just for a money thing, I think that's so disgusting. If it is true and you're still doing it for money,
you got to be clear. Are you talking about the victims? You're talking about the content creators?
I'm talking about Tasha K and Larry.
So you're talking about the content creators.
Yes.
If this is a money grab.
If this is a money grab, because it's like, part 1. It's like a reunion special. We got part 1. What's gonna happen on part 2? What's gonna happen on part 3? And it's like, if it's something about him doing what he did to a child, you need to release everything that came out and let the courts and do what they need to do. Instead of making this like, oh God, yes, we all want to know what happened, but it's almost like now we sitting around waiting for the next part of the reunion to figure out what we're going to talk about next. So yeah, it's creepy. It's weird.
I would hate to think that this was a money grab. I mean,
I
I
would hate
think
to
that
think
what's
that
going to
too,
end up
but
happening is
people.
the lawyers are going to be the winners.
I would hate to think that too. I'm not. The thing is, I'm not putting nothing past anybody. I don't think it's a money grab. I'm just throwing different scenarios out there. But I just think that people are crazy. People would do anything to make money, anything for content. People talk about anything. But I just think that it's weird. But like I said, as much detail as he went into, and again, I haven't heard Larry's side and stuff like that. But as much detail as he went into, I'm like, something happened. And if he wasn't over the age of 18, it's nasty to me. Even if he was 18, if he wasn't over the age of 21, it's nasty to me.
That's fair.
I will say this.
Hold on,
I
really
think
quickly. Hold on, really quickly. I want to point this out because I think that we have accurately given all sides of this scenario. Tasha K did say that she was abused as a child, and she did say that this hit home for her because she remembers the abuse very vividly. Now, I did not specifically mention it because it was graphic. I just put on my notes too graphic to talk about. But she did talk about her abuse as a child. And was it Lenore? Were you talking? Or was that Sunkist?
yes.
Okay, sorry. Please
And that's
continue.
no problem, no problem. I want to put this in also because we are all critical thinkers. Keep this part in mind. I was also raised religiously. I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. And quiet as it is kept when it comes to religious factions, predators are not made in religious spheres. They come to the religious sphere. Mm-hmm. They understand. Just look at Catholicism. Look at the Catholic Church. Predators are not made in Catholicism. They understand that they will be protected. It is because of the culture of silence that has the opportunity for predators to come to a religious faction. It is not, so I'm not here to say that Larry Reid is this person. I'm saying collectively, predators do end up in religious factions because they are protected within that religion. And I'm just putting that out there. I'm not saying it's true. Religious communities and congregations protect their pastors and their elders and their bishops, and they will go all the way in and say, not my pastor, not my pastor. They're not doing that. They're not doing this. But within the realm of protecting the homeless and the fatherless child and the disenfranchised creates opportunity for predators to take advantage of. And once again, I'm going to say that Larry Reid may not be this person, but I have known many a spiritual leader that this particular accusation has not come upon. Mm-hmm. Many. But I have known one or two that this has come upon. And when there's smoke, I can even believe that everybody could be lying in this situation. Maybe one person is taking advantage of one thing. Another person is taking advantage of another thing. Another person is trying to monetize. All these things can be happening in the same space. All things can be true at the same time. That's all.
I just want to say something really quickly. I think people. I don't think people are taking Larry's side, but I think when a child is involved, people are going to defend the child before they hear the force, because it's like a child is involved, and a child is being, things are being done to a child by a grown adult. So it's like,
you would think, but that's not always the case. I know
that's not always the case. But I was just like,
I know a lot of people who said
comment,
that the young people who were, taken advantage of by Mr. Kelly knew what they were getting into. I've heard a lot of things like that. It disgusts me, but I don't think that children are necessarily believed like they should be.
Right.
Especially not in our families, Mims. I mean, how many? I understand that we might feel that it can be more prevalent or more protected in the church, but I would say it's protected, period. Our politicians are protected. Our
Juan
the
Dixon
uncles,
protected that man.
huh?
We covered this on my channel. Juan Dixon, Robin Dixon's husband on Potomac, allegedly covered up for somebody who he had hired who took advantage of a student. You know what I mean? It happens all the time.
All the time. And in our families, how often is it that what stays in goes on in the house stays in the house? You can't tell on your uncle, you can't tell on the cousin, you can't tell, or if you tell your mom that her boyfriend messed around with you, she's looking at you. Now I know none of us mothers here would do that. I'm just saying this is what has happened. And we see it, or our girls are called, oh, you just fast, you just this, you just that. You know what I'm saying? So I think this is just a prevalent problem where children aren't believed, period. I know that might sound a little hypocritical, but I'm now looking at a 32-year-old grown man that is now saying that these things happen and says he has a photogenic memory and that it happened at a house that didn't exist in the year he said that house existed, rather than just say it happened here. I can't remember the specific address. Do you see what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to pick this apart. I just feel like before we destroy either person's lives, that we need to get to the bottom of it.
And then
hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on, really, really quickly, Shauna. So we talked about this earlier. We discussed all parts, but I really felt I did mention that Larry did a live where he said unequivocally that he did not do any of these things. So I don't know if you were talking to the people on the panel or people in the chat, but it's a good question. I did not review Larry's live because I felt like Consciouz TV, when he interviewed with Sharrells World, presented so many things on Larry's defense. And Larry pretty much on his own personal live didn't present all those things. He just talked about that he didn't do it. I chose to discuss Consciouz TV's interview with Sharrell. But if anybody is truly interested, go to all of those content creators so that you can form a informed decision on your own. It'll be hours of content, but if it's something that interests you, definitely. I've mentioned everybody's channel. But if somebody was talking,
I just wanted to say too that when it comes to a lot of times we as humans try to find something when it comes to even with religious leaders. There are a lot of gross things that goes on in religions because there are a lot of everybody that are involved in religion are heavily flawed because it is imperfect humans that are dealing in religion. And people are so quick to look at mankind and say, oh, because of I was in this religion or that religion, and start pointing fingers at religion when it comes to the religious leaders. Instead of saying, oh, again, being the followers. And I don't want to get preachy. 1 Peter 2:21 says, Jesus says, follow his footsteps closely. And people want to follow man and point their finger at religion, say, oh, I was in this religion. This what happened to me in this religion. And they always want to take man and put man on this pedestal and say, oh, because this bishop or Jehovah's Witness or this, that, and the other, and say, I opt out. But what is faith? When faith comes in play, what does that actually mean? Who are you putting faith in? Man? Or is it Jesus? And so the thing is, that's why everybody's bumping heads and say, oh, I want to snatch out because they see this bishop or this priest or this preacher and all that, because you're putting your faith and you're following man, imperfect man. So you're going to always find reason to point your finger at the wrong man because you're not following the right man, which is the perfect one. And so that's the reason why. So then you have to stop and say, well, when it all boils down to it, who's the nucleus? Who's the one behind it? Other than Satan, it's Whitehead. Whitehead. His motive is to do evil for evil. He's slinging mud. So everybody's pointing their finger at all these different. It wasn't a Jehovah's Witness that needs to be brought up and mentioned. Why? Because it wasn't about a Jehovah's Witness, about the elder. It wasn't about this person or that person. Whitehead got this started because he can't deal with the fact that he's falsely accusing over some jewelry being robbed and all this. We're missing a point. He's angry because of his background and his past, and people are looking at him side-eyeing him, and he's using a victim in his trauma because he wants to get even with Reid because Reid mentioned something that he didn't like, which is all boiled down to narcissism. We're losing everybody.
I think you're losing a little bit of this, my dear. And I don't mean to.
No. We're losing
hang on one second.
Let me finish. Everybody said, let me finish. We're losing focus. Whitehead was upset because of his church getting robbed, and it snowballed all the way over into this young man's trauma. Is he telling the truth or not? That's what we want to stop. Is this young man telling the truth or not? Yes or no? Okay, well, if he is or if he isn't, what is the motive? Whitehead been upset. Who is he shaking hands with? Tasha. Is she telling the truth? Yes or no? Well, what is her motive? So we need to stay right there. Everybody's taking sides. Everybody's mad at each other. Everybody's trying to figure out who they're following, who's upset with who. Let's stick to the point. Stay right here and stay focused. Because now we got people wanting to go to court. Now people's thinking about, I'm going to sue. It's going to be millions involved. And now we're talking about Cardi B. And now we're talking about this person's religion. I snatched out of religion for this and the other. Everybody had their right to feel fear is real and pain is real. People are traumatized about religion, and this is why I'm upset with everybody. That's true. Everybody have their talking points. I'm not negating. I'm negating the fact that everybody shouldn't feel them with, but I'm just saying, if everybody start losing focus and getting upset over small, then everybody's going to forget about what the crux of it all is. And so the thing is, it's about this young man. Is he telling the truth? If he is, let's not forget about his trauma, and he's being weaponized. This is where we have to stay. And the thing is, people saying, well, Tasha is using this as a money grab. She could be, and if she is, shame on her. And then they said, well, Reid is using it as a money grab too. Well, if he's innocent, he shouldn't have to come out and explain why he's using it if he's using it as a money grab. Because if Tasha is, and it's over his lifestyle, it's just like him being a blouse that some designer that may have made out of some beautiful raw materials, and it may be pure white, and he may be this beautiful pure white blouse that come from over in another country that's rarely made, maybe one of 3 blouses that, and everybody's looking at that blouse to, oh, it's worth $2 million, but yet, oh, it has a mustard stain on it. He can be this beautiful blouse that's rarely made, but everybody's gonna start looking at that mustard stain, and it's never gonna leave. Because everybody's going to see him as that mustard stain. Well, even if Tasha has been relying, that strategy that they've used, that mustard stain is going to stay there, even if he's innocent, because he's been stigmatized now. Now, is it gross if, like the young man was saying earlier, because the guy was 16 or 17? I understand that, because now I'm going, oh yeah, yeah. Even if I had never thought about that before. Anybody under the age, a certain age with me is disgusting. I believe that. But see, even if I hadn't thought about that before, the fact that that's been brought out and some light been shown upon that, I'm going to look at Larry Reid and go, oh, yeah, he was with a 17-year-old. That is disgusting. See, that strategy, that's going to always be a mustard stain. So that's what I'm saying. Everybody need to stick to the fact that this is a strategy, and this motive here has already stained this man. So regardless, even if he comes up and he's innocent, he's marred. And so it's the motive behind it.
I see what you're trying to say. You're saying that at this point, no matter what is said, these allegations are out about him, and it's going to stick. Now, everybody's not going to believe it, but enough people will believe it that it will follow him. Now we gotta close out, Sunkissed. So I think we'll start with Hart and then Lenora, and then really can actually take us out. Because y'all, I gotta work tomorrow. I'm doing 7 days a week.
Well, you a hard working man. We got to get you about to 50 or 100K so you can stop that job. So thank you again for having me up. I wish I could go and deal with all that was just said. I will just say this. The reality of this is yes, we need to be focusing on the people that are at play here, right? It comes down to Levantre and it comes down to Larry Reid. At the end of the day, and none of us were ever there, we'll never know the absolute truth. Unfortunately, I will say though, this is definitely a money grab on a number, right, of sides, and they are weaponizing this Levantre's trauma. Whomever perpetrated it, they're weaponizing it, and on the other side, someone's weaponizing the fact that they did not get what they wanted out of the person they could have got it from. And when you owe somebody else some money, you got to make it up somewhere. So I hope that we all do listen to both sides objectively. And there's one thing I will say, we have, and I said this on my own channel, we got to stop deifying pastors, ministers, prophets, prophetesses, because even if you read the Apocrypha, even Jesus himself
And
said, don't
Beyonce.
worship me. We got to stop it. But we also have to honor our children, okay, and care for them so that this doesn't continue to happen. Thank you very much. I'll drop down. I appreciate y'all.
Oh, no problem. It's always good to see you, Hart.
Good to see you too. All right, take care.
It's a nice discussion.
Leno-
Thanks, everyone.
Oh no, thank you, Sunkissed. I appreciated your perspective as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Lenore? What'd you say?
Oh,
No, I was saying I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
Did you have anything to close out, Lenore?
oh no, I just don't want to leave with I was defaming religion or trying to put out there that something was wrong with the religion. I'm a very spiritual person, so that was not my intent.
Did
But
somebody
we
say
are
that you
going to.
did?
Yeah, I felt like it, but it's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. So I just want to make sure that we all are on the same page. We all do want to find justice and the truth for this young man and what happened with him. And I did appreciate the discussion, and I hope to do it again. So thank you so much, Mims gang, gang, gang.
I want to say this before really jumps in. This one, everybody's on opposite sides of the aisle here, right? So what I appreciated about my subscribers and the people who may not be subscribed to me but are watching, even if you disagreed, for the most part, everybody stated their own opinion and didn't necessarily like attack anybody. And I was worried about that because this is one of those hot button issues that's very polarizing and it could have gone left. So it didn't. And, I'm saying kudos to you guys who watched. You will get double kudos if you like the video. Really take us out. And they've been dropping your link really because I appreciated that. Really
Yes,
was like,
thank you.
Okay, but thanks, ma'am, for letting me share my opinion, and and really it was nice. I'm looking forward to being a subscriber. Thank you for allowing me to be
Thank
up with you.
you. Thank you.
Okay, have a good night.
Appreciate
no, you're
it.
welcome. And you're always
Good
welcome
night.
here, Sanchez.
Yes, I
Yeah.
enjoy
Have a
you.
good one.
That's what I was gonna so I just want to say thank you, Mims, for having me on the channel. Thank you for shouting me out and dropping my link. And anybody that's a new subscriber, thank you, thank you, thank you. As far as this topic is concerned, I just want to, like I said before, I think if you've already made up your mind, then it is what it is. But this story has been on a long and winding road, and there are a lot of layers to it. So, I would just say do the research and get the understanding for yourself. You can't get the whole story only listening to one side. You know what I mean? But if you've already made up your mind, you know, it is what it is. But what I will say is let's not lose sight of the fact that there's a potential, you know, victim involved that was violated. And so we have to always be mindful of that. So I just want to leave it there.
Exactly.
I think that's a good place to leave it because, like I said, we're critical thinkers around here, and we like to hear all sides before we really, really, you know, make up our minds. But again, this is just the court of public opinion. If this young man was violated, I hope that he finds the peace that he deserves. I hope that he can continue to excel and evolve, because a lot of times when people are taken advantage of at a young age, it taints, it marks for life, and I don't want that for anybody. If this young man is not telling the truth, I hope that Larry Reid gets the justice he deserves. I don't know what happened here, and that's not what this live was about. This live was about adults talking about something that we all heard of, putting out what everybody said, and allowing people to make their decisions. That's what we do around here. Fifi, thank you so much for the super sticker. And she wasn't here earlier. Fifi, we lost Angela today. One of my subscribers who I was very close to passed. If you don't remember Angela, I got Bolo to deliver a special message to Angela, and you know, she called herself the Vixen on Wheels. She had cancer multiple times. She was a stroke victim. She was a very strong lady, and she had a very dirty mouth, and I respected that about her. So, guys, we're gonna close out. I drop videos like daily. The next time I'll be live will more than likely be Sunday for my Potomac review. But if something else goes on crazy like this on YouTube, I will definitely be watching. Sunkiss, somebody said you had a channel. Is that true?
Yeah, I do, but I took a break for a while. I wanted to be happy. I do,
Girl,
but I'm going
girl, shout out your channel. What are you
No,
talking? Whether you're taking a break or not, shout out your channel.
Yeah, well, it's actually under my name. In fact, I even went under another email address on purpose.
What is
So
your
that
channel name?
it's the Sunkiss by Taska and Hypergamy.
Okay. Heart of Inspiration has a channel. Shout out your channel, Heart.
It's Heart of Inspiration right here on YouTube. Thank you.
Lenore, do you have a channel?
Thank God I do not. Thank Jehovah I do not.
It's not that bad.
Okay, and that's where we will end it. We will see you guys. Thank you so much, everybody who came, everybody on the panel, everybody who gave their opinion, and we will see you next time. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Thanks again. I enjoyed it.